call this meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Good to see everyone. We're rounding the clubhouse turn, everybody. We're nearing the end of a very challenging year. Thank everybody at home here tonight for your collaboration, for your patience, for your support. We're nearly there, and everybody's done a great job. So thank you all very much. Tonight is our May 27th general board meeting. We will be having our standard board meeting, as well as talking about a facilities special presentation, as well as this is a special meeting every year in which all of our principals will be here to recognize some staff appreciation for longevity and some unfortunate retirements. So we wish everybody well. And along those lines, can I have an agenda, or rather a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
A motion.
And actually, before we take this vote, I need to make an amendment. I would like to move personnel 4.1, in which we will be doing all these recognitions, to before the special presentation, such that we allow people to have their moment and they don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. I guess I need a motion to amend the prior motion if you accept that.
So Dr. Goldman, that's moving. So we're moving special presentation down below. So we're moving all the honorees up first. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I'll motion that.
Thank you very much.
I'll second.
All right, there we go. Subaki, vote please.
All in favor, please.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. To the Pledge of Allegiance, Ms. Wilberg, would you be so kind?
Pleasure. Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lisa. We'll now turn to From the Public. And before we do, as we have in our prior meetings, we'll look to share your thoughts, comments. There was a share your thoughts comment about the renaming, which we will have some conversation on this evening, and the idea that Richard Henry Dana was a good guy, and the ask of the consideration of maybe considering keeping his name among the schools. Wendy, other comments, please, tonight?
We do not have any public comments this evening.
All right, moving along. So let's go to action items for the 4.0 or 4.1 personnel items. Dr. Silvers, do you want to introduce our various principals, to introduce our honorees and those being recognized tonight?
Sure. And I'm actually, first of all, I just want to say we are joined, I guess, and I was going to say surrounded, but we're not. We're joined via Zoom with some really, really phenomenal people who have contributed lots of time and energy into the students for generations in many cases. And so it's just really, we always love this board meeting because we just get to recognize those people that have made such a difference in our community. And so I'm going to tee it up with that and definitely pass it off to Nisha so that she could start the recognition part.
Perfect. Good evening, everyone. This is, just like Dr. Silvers told us, this is a very exciting and special recognition meeting for our retirees and our longevity employees. We want to honor employees who've devoted not only their professional careers, but their personal lives to the Wiseburn community. So first off, just want to say thank you to that. And also thank you for your dedication to our kiddos, to our staff, to the community, and to your colleagues. You truly are an inspiration, and we are excited to be joined by our school principals that will be doing the honoree recognition. So I want to first turn it over to Ms. Kiana Clark.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here to celebrate. I will be reading our resolution honoring Candace Gray for 38 years of service in the Wiseburn Unified School District. Resolution, yes, 38, right? Let's applaud that. Resolution number 20/21.27. Those employees who have devoted a very significant part of their work life to the Wiseburn Unified School District deserve special recognition. Wiseburn has changed greatly over the past 38 years, and this change has brought many challenges to all of our employees. Commendations are in order for those individuals who have led this change and affected the lives of our students and staff. Whereas, in rising to meet the challenges of providing for our students, Candace Gray has, for 38 years, been an impactful member of the Dana staff, most recently serving 6th grade students. And whereas Candace Gray has supported the science department with uncanny wit and positivity through major curriculum shifts and as a team facilitator and school site council member. And whereas Candace Gray has brought honor and prestige to Wiseburn through her work with the Richard Henry Dana staff to attain California Distinguished School status. And whereas Candace Gray has been aptly described by her colleagues as positive, impactful, joyful, thoughtful, kind, caring, and with a great love of the outdoors. And whereas Candace Gray has always been a champion of the ideal to develop and educate the whole child, academically, socially, physically, ethically, and spiritually, and to treat all children and families with sensitivity and respect. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Wiseburn Unified School District publicly commends and recognizes Candace Gray for her years of dedication to the children, parents, and staff members of the Wiseburn Unified School District, adopted this 27th day of May, 2021. Congratulations, Candy Gray, and thank you for everything you've done for our staff and our students.
Could I, Keon, I just want to add, Candy, I think you were going to try and get away without me saying something. I think you were almost hitting that, but I cannot let you sneak away without saying something. I just want to thank you, personally, and just for the sense of humor. I think that what wasn't on there was funny, sense of humor, and always, it was always a joy to be able to walk into your class and say hi and make some jokes and joke with the kids, and really appreciated, that relationship, and really will miss walking there. Even now, just getting the opportunity to walk past that classroom, it just won't be the same without you being there. And so I do thank you, from the bottom of my heart for the time that you spent with me personally, and just allowing me to be me. And so thank you for that. And it also didn't say in there anything about her love for USC, which I didn't say that. I missed something on that resolution.
We have witnesses here.
If I could say something, Candace, I wish I was there to give you a big hug and a big kiss and a big thank you. My boys enjoyed you tremendously. I enjoyed you tremendously. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. So good luck. Wish you well.
Thank you. Thank
Yes, Mrs. Gray. I don't think I can call you Candy. I'm so used to, when I came in with the boys, it was always Mrs. Gray. So I'm going to try to break that habit. But as Israel said, wonderful opportunity to meet you, for great opportunity for our boys to have you as their teacher. And thank you so much for the just the patience and the joy, the sense of humor, because you do have an amazing sense of humor. And thank you thank you for all those years, and especially for my boys in particular. Thank you so much.
It's just been a pleasure and a delight. I think I just said the same word twice. But it's just been an honor. And Rob is getting my UCLA sweatshirt out right now. I don't know if he can find it. I think it's lost. Yeah. Thank you very much. This has just been lovely, and I appreciate it. And I'll put myself on mute so I can go cry in a corner now. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Candy.
Thank you, Candy, for your 38 years of service. Next up, Albert from ANZA, if you can please recognize Ms. Karen Kaczynski-Arias.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for having me here. And before I read her resolution, I just want to say personally thank Ms. Arias for always being the first to running to me to let me know that it's going to be okay, Albert. It's going to be okay. So, regardless of the situation, she found me in the morning to make sure to let me know. So thank you for that. Resolution honoring Karen Kaczynski-Arias for 39 years of service in the Wiseburn Unified School District. Resolution number 20/21.28. Those employees who have devoted a very significant part of their life, the work life, to the Wiseburn Unified School District deserve special recognition. Wiseburn has changed greatly over the past 39 years, and this change has brought many challenges to all our employees. Commendations are in order for those individuals who have led this change and affected the lives of our students and staff. Whereas, in rising to meet the challenges of providing for our students, Karen Kozenski Arias has, for 39 years, taken it upon herself to support and motivate her colleagues and administrators. And whereas, Karen Kozenski Arias has been a risk taker and embraced change with a positive attitude, but never at the expense of her students. And whereas, Karen Kozenski Arias has brought honor and prestige to Weisburn through her work with Juan de Anza's staff to attain California Distinguished School status twice. And whereas Karen Kozenski Arias has been aptly described by her colleagues as classy, positive, strong, sassy, resilient, tireless, happy, energetic, the glue of Anza's first grade team, a true leader and willing to hug angry parents. And whereas Karen Kozenski Arias has always been a champion of the ideal to develop and educate the whole child, academically, socially, physically, ethically, and spiritually, and to treat all children and families with sensitivity and respect. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Weisburn Unified School District publicly commends and recognizes Ms. Karen Kozenski Arias for her years of dedication to the children, parents, and staff members of the Weisburn Unified School District, adopted this 27th day of May 2021.
Karen, let me throw my 2 cents in of thank you for your service to our schools, to my family personally, for your just love of students that's so evident all the time. Just what a gift you've been. We will miss you and wish you all the success in the world as you move on, wherever you want to go.
Thank you, Neil. I can't even say I landed here 39 years ago and I couldn't have picked a better place. I love the people I work with and all the kids, and it's been a wild and happy and crazy and amazing life and ride, and I'm lucky to take all the great memories away with me. So I'll have to come back and visit and bug Alberto and give him my little words of wisdom, help him out once in a while. And
please do.
Come and just be the person that he can talk to if he needs somebody to talk to.
Enjoy your retirement, Karen. Bravo.
Yes, for sure.
And Karen,
I will.
If I can just say too, I think, and I'm sorry did I cut you off, Nelson? I'm sorry.
No, I just well, you did, but I just wanted to say thank you to, I just want to say thank you to Miss Arias too. My son Colin had you, and so did my niece Natalia, and from our family, we're very lucky to have you. And I just want to again thank you for your years of service. You've been wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Karen, I just too also want to just thank you. I know you're a teacher at heart, and I know you don't stop teaching during the summer. And I had a kid who I was scared to death would fall into a pool and not be able to get out, and you know, he's definitely able to get out of a pool now and swim. So, you know, thank you for that too. You're just a teacher at heart, and I wish you all the best.
Welcome.
Thank you, Karen, for your service to Weisburn.
You are welcome.
Yay.
Yay. All right, Mr. Rios up next, honoring Robert Norman.
Right. Good evening, board. Good evening, cabinet. Robert Norman, for 32 years of service in the Weisburn Unified School District. Resolution number 20/21.29. Those employees who have devoted a very significant part of their work life to the Weisburn Unified School District deserve special recognition. Weisburn has changed greatly over the past 32 years, and this change has brought many challenges to our employees. Commendations are in order for those individuals who have led this charge and affect the lives of our students and staff. Whereas, in rising to meet the challenge of providing our students, Robert Norman has for 32 years been a devoted member of the Dana and 138th Street staff. And whereas Robert Norman has brought smiles to countless students and families with his gift of teaching and using real-life situations in classroom examples. And whereas Robert Norman has brought honor and prestige to Wiseburn through his work with the 138th Street staff to attain California Distinguished School status, and whereas Robert Norman has aptly described by his colleagues as an amazing Toastmaster, artist, concert pianist, and the organizer of the famous fable shared in the halls of 138th Street School, for Mr. Norman transforming his classroom into a farm and raising ducks. And whereas Robert Norman has been a champion of the ideals to develop and educate the whole child academically, socially, physically, ethically, and spiritually to treat all children and families with sensitivity and respect. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Wiseburn Unified School District commend and recognize Robert Norman for his years of dedication to the children, parents, and staff members of the Wiseburn Unified School District, adopted this 27th day of May, 2021. And although I don't see Mr. Norman, I just want to say on behalf of the entire 138th Street School community, we thank him for his years of service and remind him that once a Bulldog, always a Bulldog.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Hugo. Right, a very special honoree tonight, Mary Grace Chromatico from 138th. Hugo.
All right, this one, I'm gonna try to get through this one. This one's, Mary Grace is really, really special. So not that, yes, very special. Mary Grace Chromatico, for 26 years of service in the Wiseburn Unified School District. Resolution number 2021.30. Those employees who have developed a very significant part of their work life to the Wiseburn Unified School District deserve special recognition. Wiseburn has changed greatly over the past 32 years, and this change has brought many challenges to all of our employees. Commendations are in order for those individuals who have led the charge and affect the lives of our students and staff. Whereas, in rising to meet the challenges of providing our students, Mary Grace Chromatico has, for 26 years, devoted her career as a classified employee of the students of the for the students of the Wiseburn Unified School District at Cabrillo for 2 years and 138th Street for 24 years. Whereas Mary Grace has gone above and beyond the call of duty to help support our students as an RSP aide, instructional aide, classified substitute, kitchen assistant, one-on-one aide, cafeteria accountant, and health clerk. Whereas Mary Grace has been described by the teaching staff of 138th Street School as someone to rely on when times are tough, willing to do extra just to help out, has volunteered her own time to help students, teachers, and classified staff members, encourage students to persevere, and have been the backbone of the 138th Street for many years. Whereas Mary Grace has always been a champion and huge supporter of students, her commitment to students and staff over the last 26 years have been unmatched. Her empathy and warm nature has healed hundreds of students over the years and will be missed by future generations. Whereas Mary Grace may have been one person at 138th Street School, she has meant the world to many. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Wiseburn Unified School District policy commends and recognizes Mary Grace Chromatico for her years of dedication to the children, parents, and staff of the Wiseburn Unified School District, adopted this 27th day of May, 2021. And Mary Grace is here. I mean, we thank her every day for her service to all our kids. The staff just adores her. Everyone adores her. So thank you so much, Mary Grace, and you're going to be greatly, greatly missed.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Rios. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, good luck, Mary. Enjoy your retirement. We're going to miss you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mary Grace, I'm going to miss all of your tough COVID questions that you always double check with. So I much appreciated. We know you're out there to keep our students and staff safe. So really appreciate all that you've done, especially during this year of the pandemic.
You will always be remembered because we got through this pandemic together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Grace, I'd like to say thank you as well for all of your hard work, dedication, and passion to the Wiseburn Unified School District. I shared with my wife, Minerva, that you were retiring, and she says, oh my goodness, Mary Grace knows all of our boys. So right. When Mr. Rios mentioned that you touched hundreds of people in the district, I have 4 of those that you've touched. So-
Right, and I was enjoying listening to you talk about Benny. I can't believe it. Well, of course, that's why my hair is white. I guess it's been that many years. I can't believe that he's all grown up. Yes.
That's right. He's 18 years old now.
And I've so enjoyed it, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all your service.
Mary Grace, whenever a student came to Dana, you were probably one of the first names that came to us from the students at Dana. And so, you know, you're definitely, you matter, and you've made a difference in the lives of kids. So really appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, last but not least, our final retiree from Cabrillo, Mary Penna. Lisa, would you do the honors?
Yes, thank you. It's a privilege to be able to speak a little bit about Miss Penna. I'll read her resolution, but I just want to say that she is such a mainstay figure at our school, and her joyful laughter on the playground and in the classroom is just going to be missed tremendously. So a resolution honoring Emerita Mary Penna for 39 years of service in the Wiseburn Unified School District. Those employees who have devoted a very significant part of their work life to the Wiseburn Unified School District deserve special recognition. Wiseburn has changed greatly over the past 39 years, and this change has brought many challenges to all our employees. Commendations are in order for those individuals who have led this change and affected the lives of our students and staff. Whereas, in rising to meet the challenges of providing for our students, Mary has supported our English language development students at 138th Street School, Cabrillo, and district-wide with positivity and enthusiasm for decades. And whereas Mary has translated countless pieces of communication, enabling more families to stay informed and maintain connection to our school, and whereas Mary is a fountain of knowledge and always willing to share that knowledge with staff and students, either in the classroom, in meetings, or on the playground. And as whereas Mary has cheerfully welcomed students at the front desk, helping many to have a positive start to their day and formed positive relationships with countless students and parents. And whereas Mary has been a consistent champion for celebrating multiculturalism and valuing the diverse language backgrounds that make Wiseburn such a culturally rich community. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Wiseburn Unified School District publicly commends and recognizes Emerita Mary Penna for her years of dedication to the children, parents, and staff members of the Wiseburn Unified School District. Adopted this 27th day of May, 2021. So, thank you so much to Ms. Penna. Everyone is going to miss her tremendously. And she's, like I said, she's such an amazing figure, and she's such a champion for our students. And we're gonna wish you all the best, Mary. I'm glad you're able to make it this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. You know, can I say something to Mary? You know, Mary, you've been just such a gift to us in our English language learner program. And, you know, so many children that came to our schools to learn the language learned it with love. And so I just want to thank you for that touch and for always being there for our children as they came into Cabrillo. It was just so important. So thank you.
We can't hear you.
Mary's muted, yes.
Now, there you
There you go.
Okay. Thank you so much. To me, Wiseburn has been like a family, my second family. I enjoy it and I love teaching those children for that many years, and different families came and gone. Even Mr. Moore's children came to our school too. So I really, really enjoy all those years, but I thought it was time for me to stay a little bit away. So I'm going to plan to visit and maybe donate some time. And Miss Wahlberg could always count on me if she needs any help. I'm not going that far.
Thank you, Mary. We'll take you up on it.
Mary, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Mary.
It's always been great to see you on campus, and I know my boys enjoyed you a lot. And by the way, my boys are now 28 and 26-year-old men.
Yes, yes. They're grown men now.
Thank you.
It's like yesterday, they were little children.
Yes, yes, I remember that well.
Even, well, we all been so many years, so many memories, even from ANSA, from 138, even Dana. I have gone through all those schools helping children. And so I really enjoyed every minute of it. It was a nice, wonderful ride through the Weisman School District. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Say hi to Miriam for me too, Mary. Say hi to Miriam for me. I went to school with her.
She's there.
Bravo.
Thank you for all your contributions and obviously best wishes in your next chapter.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next honorees for tonight are our longevity honorees. And so these employees have been with us for 35 years or 25 years. And so first
Nisha, I'm sorry. I think I have to interrupt you. I think we actually need to approve these resolutions. So maybe we should go through,
okay.
Dr. Goldman, I think we actually should take them individually as resolution, and then we'll just follow up with those. I'm sorry. I should have told you first.
So per Dr. Silver's suggestion, let's take these individually. Can I have a motion to adopt resolution 2021.27 honoring Candace Gray, item 4.1?
I'll motion. Oh, Israel, go ahead.
I'll second either way.
Okay.
Thank you both. Mr. Baki?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
All right, a motion for 4.2, resolution 2021.28 honoring Karen Kosinski Arias.
I like the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Wendy?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Motion to adopt resolution 2021.29 honoring Robert Norman, 4.3.
You have a motion. I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Baki?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Item 4.4, adopt resolution 2021.30 honoring Mary Grace Gramatico. May I have a resolution, please? I mean, if I have a resolution.
I'll give you a motion.
Well, thank you, Roger.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Baki?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And then, oh, sorry. Thank you. Item 4.5, resolution 2021.31 honoring Emerita Mary Pena. May I have a motion, please?
I like the motion.
I would gladly second that.
Thank you. Wendy, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Silvers. Let's now turn to our longevity honorees, item 4.6.
You want me to take this, Dr. Silvers?
No, go for it. Sorry. Go for it.
All right, back to our honorees for tonight. First up is Irene Umbarger from ANZA. I want to congratulate her for 35 years of service with Weisman School District. So Mr. Perez, would you be able to give some kind words about her?
Absolutely. You know, I'm sorry. I was prepared to speak on all three of my honorees at the same time.
Sure, let me do that for you. 25 years of service, Barbara Green from ANZA, and another 25 years of service, Ray Vacker.
All right. And well, I have one more. So anyway, I'm sorry, everybody. I would like to thank you all once again for giving me the honor of actually recognizing individuals who have a combined 85 years of service to our wonderful district. These individuals all have some things in common. They are all dedicated, hardworking, and go above and beyond for our students. An example of this was When our schools closed, these 3 individuals kept coming to campus to make sure that our students had what they needed to continue their learning and be safe at home. These individuals have played a significant role in creating the ANZA family and truly embody the motto, ANZA is a place where everyone is someone special. So first, I'd like to start with Ray Valquer. Ray Valquer is our ANZA custodian. He is a definition of service with a smile. He greets us all each day with a wave and one of his daily catchphrases. Is there anything you need? Please let me know. Is everything else okay? Call me if you need anything. Every morning. No task is ever too big or too small. He has a kind of soul, a loving heart, and a helpful disposition. He is impressive with his generous and positive attitude. Along with his exemplary character traits, Ray cares about ANZA and its environment. He arrives early and doesn't leave until valuable tasks are completed. From ants to spills, from trash to treasure, Ray ensures our school is spotless has everything in its place and is welcoming for everyone each and every day. Ray, thank you for your 25 years of service. Barbara Green. Mrs. Green is artistically, I got these words from talking to our teachers. They shared some words. I got pages and I condensed it down to a paragraph. And I'm going to share these words with them, what they shared later. So Barbara Green is artistically talented and has been an amazing aide at ANZA for many years. She is kind to all students, teachers, and staff. She always generously volunteers to coordinate lunches for teachers during Teacher Appreciation Week. Most importantly, she truly cares about students. Teachers share the following about Mrs. Green. With little direction, Barbara can take on your thoughts and turn it into something precious, and you don't even know you needed it. It is always evident when something has had Barbara's touch added to it. Barbara infuses her gorgeous artistic talents with all our projects. Barbara works so hard. She gives so much of herself to make ANZA look good. Mrs. Green, thank you for your 25 years of service to the Weisburn School District. And last but not least, Irene Umbarger. Mrs. Umbarger is currently serving as an aide at ANZA. She is efficient and has incredible attention to detail. She is dedicated and consistently goes above and beyond. She's always ahead of the game, often reminding teachers of what needs to be done. She is creative and thoughtful. Teachers know they can depend on her 100% of the time. She takes initiative to help a coworker with a large task while still needing to complete her own work. Teachers shared the following about her. Without her, I would barely survive. She is a wonderful person to work with. She is the laminating queen and for many years laminated our giant painted student bodies. She is artistic, so organized and hardworking. She cares so much. We wouldn't be who we have been for so many years without Irene Umberger at the helm of our support staff. Mrs. Umberger, thank you for your 35 years of service to ANZA and the Weisburn Unified School District. Once again, I want to thank all 3 of you for your 85 years. You've been amazing and always come through for ANZA, the ANZA students and staff. You're greatly appreciated.
Thank you for sharing that, Albert. Next up, for 25 years of teaching service, Lori Rollins from Cabrillo.
Thank you. Some words about Miss Rollins. Again, there were many things that her colleagues sent in and many things I wanted to say, but to try to be succinct. It has been a pleasure getting to know Lori over the past 2 years, especially as we bond over our shared love of trying new donut shops. In thinking about Lori's classroom, what immediately comes to mind is the passion and energy she brings that can add a sense of excitement to every subject that she teaches every day. Her grade level team describes her as a great friend and listener who always puts her students first and is a tremendous support to all those she works with. One coworker shared that Lori's insight, creativity, and joie de vivre have benefited us all. And I just want to congratulate Lori on this milestone, and I know all of her colleagues join me in that congratulations. Thank you, Lori, for your time and service.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been a wonderful journey to be here in Wiseburn, and I feel like it was just yesterday that I came with my 3.5-year-old, and then he went to kindergarten at Cabrillo, and I turned around and blinked, and it was my whole career. And 25 years have gone by, but I've seen so many changes at Cabrillo, and they've been so wonderful. I've had the opportunity to work with some really amazing principals, Jane Comet, Lisa, and it's been a wonderful career to look back on. So I want to thank Wiseburn for putting up with me for 25 years, and I just really appreciate this today. Thank you.
Good luck, Lori. Enjoy
Thank
your
you.
retirement.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, for 25 years of service, Noelle Stahl, teacher at Dana Middle School.
Thank you. I am so proud and privileged to celebrate Noelle Stahl's 25 years of service to our Wiseburn community. During her 25 years, Noelle has taught art classes across all 3 grade levels, facilitated the creation of multiple yearbooks using our talented middle school students, offered after-school enrichment courses, beautified our schools with stunning murals, and showcased her students' talents at the Take Part art festivals. Noelle is truly an advocate and a champion of the arts for all students, and she finds that artistic talent in students who might not have known it was there. I want to say that I thank Noelle for all that she does, and if she'd like to do another 25 years at Dana, we're more than happy to have her. So thank you, Noelle. You are a gift to our community.
Is that the last of our honorees tonight?
That is the last one.
Well, thank you, principals. Thank you, Dr. Dougal. Thank you, all of the honorees. It's a good reminder of how blessed we are, all these wonderful people that we've had in our district for so many years, making so many wonderful contributions. So again, let's give a big applause and one more thank you to all of them for their contributions. So valuable. All right, well, we will now move to our special presentation on facilities. Dr. Silvers, would you like to introduce Ms. Williams?
I sure will. Is Miss Williams on? She will be. She'll be over here soon. So we were lucky enough to get together our facilities committee just a couple weeks ago. Thank you to Israel for being a part of that, and as we begin to look at what our needs are for our facilities over the next several years. But really the focus today, and I think Julie will share that with you, is what's next for Wiseburn in terms of summertime. Some deferred maintenance, some safety, some look at some of our safety irrigation issues that have been, in a sense, plaguing some of our plants and in the parking lots. And we want to do some beautification this year, this summer, just to get things back up and running. So Julie spent some time doing some analysis, and now I think will share with us some of the plans for the summer at all. So without further ado, I think Julie, you're on. I see a still shot there. I don't know. Are you you there?
Dr. Silvers, before Ms. Williams comes on, I'd like to thank the principals for attending. I know that we have some other items that they may not need to be here for. So I want to once again just thank the principals for attending and providing the support and honoring both our retirees and our longevity staff members. So thank you.
So they don't want to stay and watch this. Is that what you're saying, Dr. Dougal?
They're going to go to the attendees.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I'm on. For some reason, my face is not showing, so I'm good. Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you.
Okay, let me fix this, and I will. Here we go. Okay, there we go.
There you are.
Sorry, I was hiding. Okay, here we go. Okay, so good evening, and thank you very much for allowing me to share the exciting news in the facilities world. I had a chance to be able to spend a lot of time going and meeting different site people, walking with the principals and walking with the custodians and our maintenance and operations team to really identify what our work is going to look like for the summer and where we're going to be moving forward over the next few years. So our the overview of the presentation is really looking at how we would identify the projects and putting them into categories, and then being able to put priorities and costs together, and the purpose and the process behind each one of these categories and how we recommend to proceed. And then we were also looking at the types of resources and the equipment that our team is going to need in order to be able to accomplish the identified projects. So within the projects, we broke them up into 4 different priorities. And in those priorities, we have a number of different categories. And for the presentation tonight, I'm going to focus in on just 2 of them, what we identified as priority 1 and priority 2. So priority 1 is about safety, everything that is related to safety, and really being able to protect our community, the students, faculty, and anyone that's coming onto our sites. And the other part of priority 1 is the health and wellness of how it affects teaching and learning. And really about how we provide an incredible learning environment for our students and our teachers to thrive. Priority 2 is focused in on what our regular routine maintenance is, and then the resource improvement. I call it resource improvement, but it's our request to be able to have the resources needed in order to be able to accomplish the work. And then inside of priority 2 is also the grants, which is related to AB 841. It's the air conditioning, HVAC, there's lighting, and the related, so I can't really think you call it. It's the controls. It's for the water systems, toilets, sinks, and things like that. And you've heard from Jamie in the past about AB 841. So moving into priority 1, under safety, I categorize them as trip and fall hazards, and we have a number of empty tree wells, sinking pavement, concrete, and pavers. We have identified several areas on each of our sites where there is splitting asphalt. There's holes in the playground surfaces, transition surfaces, and then we are noticing quite a bit on the sites that are having the sinking pavement where there's water pooling and flooding issues. Under the other side of safety and security, there is a need to be able to repair and update our alarm system, as several of our sites are experiencing some challenges with the cameras. We're having alarms go off in the middle of the night. Some of it is due to just by movement when the air comes on, and it causes the alarms to go off. So there's a number of issues that are related to that. And then what we're looking at too is being able to uniform our safety and security contracts, where we have one company that comes out instead of 5 different companies. And so it makes it easier to be able to manage the contracts and really be able to have the right team service them. We need to add some security cameras to certain sites, and then we're looking at our HVAC, ductwork, and the units, which again is categorized into our AB 841 program. So under the safety related projects identified for priority 1, and we have a need to be able to do an irrigation survey, which we have, I had a consultant come out that we already have a piggyback to provide just a walkthrough to give us an idea of identified costs. We have not paid for the survey, but it was more of a cursory review to be able to give us, again, an identification of what we're looking at. We have a need to be able to replace trees. And we're looking at not just concreting everything, but really beautifying our sites to make it appropriate with the right types of trees, what we call parking lot trees, rather than just trees that either are beautiful and then they die later on, or they're not appropriate for the spaces that they're in. We're also looking at replacing the sinking pavers. We have 2 sites that have a particular need. One is at Dana and the other one is at 138. There's a number of uneven and corroded concrete on all of our sites. The asphalt needs to be replaced on 3 of our sites. And then we do have a serious need to be able to replace several of our HVAC units and the ductwork. Sometimes it's not fun climbing up on top and finding out the condition, what they look like. So under priority number 1, we have health and wellness projects. When we look at health, we're looking at the ventilation, lighting. We have IPM, which is pest management, and then other airborne related issues or where things grow that we're usually not supposed to mention in a public meeting. Then we have wellness, and wellness is really focused in on what is the optimum environment that allows teachers and students and faculty to really thrive. So we're looking at how we can relate that where it's an environment that is producing good learning and outcomes, where it's clean and inviting and the community feels engaged and welcome. So under the health and wellness priorities, we were looking at the various items. There's about a $33,000 price tag that's associated with it. And it's repair, replace ventilation fans. There's some lighting that needs to be done. There's roof repairs, parking lot lights. We do have a need for some lighting to be able to make it consistent on the campuses, moving from the sodium and high energy usage lighting to the LEDs. And by being able to uniform, it makes the time that our maintenance team has to go and repair more efficient, because we're not having to store a lot of different types of lights, plus it becomes a uniform way of being able to correct it. So then we have the routine regular maintenance projects where we look at the deep cleaning and then also the routine and preventative areas. So for deep cleaning, we have a serious need for gum removal, carpets and flooring, pressure washing, weeding, gutters and garbage, and then kitchen. We have over the year, the grease builds up and they just need to be deep cleaned. But we need to have the right tools and resources to do that. We have on the routine and preventative side, we have trees and planters and what we call plant life. We have some need for fencing, as well as over at Dana, we have what's called the code repair, just because of the utilization of that space and what's in it based on the materials of how the space was built. There's a need to be able to rebuild some of that. And then we want to make sure that we're fixing broken items district-wide. The idea is that we really want to put ourselves forward that in the environment that we create, we want people to feel like it matters to them and that we're taking care of things and that we're using our public dollars wisely and that we're just not letting things go in where it becomes an eyesore or there's a lot of disrepair. So under these items, we have where it's the typical, the gutters getting cleaned. And so it's a lot of work, but we have to do it because if they build up, then we have water seepage, and the water seepage can cause a lot of other types of areas that becomes more expensive later on down the line. We have a big need to be able to build up the planters and fix the base, as well as fix the irrigation, identifying why some planters are working and some aren't, why some trees are growing and some aren't. Each site has an idea of what they want. We do have an identified cost for the overall being able to maintain all of this by site. Then we need to fix some of the fencing and then the gum removal. And that's a bit of a challenge because we have on the concrete and the pavers, it's not an easy fix. And we don't want to ruin the concrete by pressure washing that leaves a stain. And then there are some of the other items where we need to deep clean the carpets and then replace some of the plant life, as I had mentioned. On the other side of things, where we look at the resource improvements, which is also part of priority 2, there's a lot of tools that our maintenance team needs and the equipment that is at the end of its useful life. And it seems like whenever you need something, it all happens all at the same time. But now's a good time to purchase. We're finding that we're in this transition that if district people are willing to work with districts in order to be able to keep the cost low. But in the tools, we have communication devices that allow our team to be more efficient with the work order system. And that's really what was pushing this, is that there was no efficient manner to be able to utilize the work system that we've had in place because our team wasn't being able to receive the information in a timely manner. And so there were several different steps that needed to happen. And so by having it electronic, they were able to manage it on site and being able to see what's coming in as it is occurring. We needed to have some custodian equipment, and I had asked each of our custodians and the sites to be able to identify what they needed, as well as our maintenance and operations team. Is if you had tools, you need tools, what would you get? And so they put a list together, and then we did some cost comparisons, and we have a cost assigned for all of that. There's replacement tools that need to be had, and then storage and organization materials. On the equipment, We have 2 lawnmowers that are down, that are at it, that their end of the useful life. We literally have things put together by by wire in order for them to work. There's a need for a utility truck, and a replacement van is one of the vans is no longer in use. And then we do need to have the cove repaired, and then we have some need for welding and plumbing and electrical, as well as irrigation equipment. And then the cost for the identified cost that we had found is around $221,000. And we try to do as much research as possible to make sure that we were getting the right value for what we want. And so on the spreadsheet here, and there's details on a different spreadsheet for you to be able to see. That is the end of the presentation. So Dr. Silvers, do I turn this back over to you, or Dave? Yeah. Is there, okay.
Yeah, first, thank you, Julie. And I think I want to ask Dave, and I'm sure the board would want to know, do we have money to do this work? We did identify some funds at our facilities meeting, but Dave, what was your recommendation on this?
Yeah, we're gonna look at our deferred maintenance and routine restricted maintenance balances, and I think we can tackle a lot of those projects. Maybe not all of them. There's also time constraints. I saw a lot of those dates were July. So obviously we're going to do our best to be efficient and to accomplish as many tasks as we can. And then when we run into budget problems, we'll obviously want to plan for the future as well. So we'll get hopefully most of them done.
I know we're going to focus first on the safety concerns. We have walked around and just want to identify those trip hazards. Sinking pavers, the flood areas on campuses that we've seen, just some irrigation issues, obviously, that was mentioned because we have dying plants. I know, Israel, we've talked about that, and on all of our sites, the trees that are sort of lining and beautifying or supposed to be beautifying our campuses don't exist. They're just holes at this point. And we want kids to want to be at school. Obviously, the more the prettier it looks, it's just a better learning environment. So we definitely want to tackle some of those high need items. So thank you.
If I could say something, just Julie wanted to thank you for a very extensive report, and I hope that we can help you chip away at it and get it all done. That'd be
great. Thank you. Yeah, I know our team is really excited about really feeling like there's a purpose for them, and the campuses I know are excited because they were involved. So thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I actually want to say as well that thank you. Even during the time that the students weren't on campus, I know there were a lot of teachers on campus and staff was on campus. I think our schools and our grounds look great, and I hope that the maintenance, is going to keep up with the appearance. The outside appearances are all great, but if the equipment needs repairs, we definitely need to do that.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, we have a pretty amazing group. They don't complain. They just get out and do their work, and that would make them feel valued and appreciated by being able to have equipment that allows them to do their jobs better. So thank you.
Yeah.
Julie, I'd like to say thank you for looking into the preventative and maintenance as well, and not just looking at something for replacement. Right, replacement is much more expensive than doing some legwork up front and maintaining things. As we all know, construction and projects materials are very expensive, even more so these days. So thank you for looking at this, putting together a program with some priorities and recommendations. It really helps us make some decisions to move forward. So look forward to supporting this, and thank you for you and the team for putting this together. Thank you.
I also want to take the opportunity, Julie, to thank you for the presentation as well. I really appreciated the priority groups 1 and 2, and obviously learning what equipment we need. We've been very blessed in our community that they've supported several bonds, and you hit on something that's really important. We need to ensure that we protect our investments. So definitely appreciate the presentation. I did want to make a note that, or mention in your report, I think you mentioned something about the roof at Anza Elementary School. That roof has been in there about 20 years. It's probably, or 20 plus now. It's probably getting at the end of its lifespan. We did pay for a survey, I believe, about a year or 2 ago, where they had some recommendations. So it's interesting that we're seeing some issues again with that roof. So definitely take a close look at that. because that is something that we may need to maybe have a more significant discussion about in terms of that roof, because I think that's a fairly recent survey. So we could be having bigger issues if we don't address that. Also, with regards to the asphalt, we've had a plan now in place where we actually resurface the asphalt, and I think we're on a 3 or 5 year plan, again, to protect the asphalt from cracks and a lot of the items that you just mentioned with regards to ponding and so forth, and obviously the safety issues that present itself. So, you know, I definitely want to probably have a further conversation with you with regards to that in our facilities committee meeting. But thank you for the wonderful presentation. I think it's very important.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
And Julie, thank you for your leadership here. Your enthusiasm and energy is already legendary throughout the district. So Dave, a question: what is our budget availability of deferred maintenance? In my calculation, that was about $567,000, which I'd love to be able to spend tomorrow, but I'm skeptical.
A little bit more than that. We do have a routine restricted maintenance account. I think that has a current balance of about $600,000. We also have a few $100,000 in our Fund 14, our deferred maintenance account. So, you know, just probably under $1 million or so. Obviously, we want to look for the future and kind of be very strategic in what decisions we do. And I have some good news when I go over my report that will assist us in this endeavor.
Great news and great perspective. Thank you both very much.
Yeah.
Dr. Goldman, oh, I'm sorry. Was there another comment before I actually wanted to add something to this before we move on, if possible? Is that good time, bad time?
Go for it.
So I have some good news, bad news that I wanted to share. And I think now since Julie's on and Eileen's here, I was going to share it during my report, but I'm going to just talk about the effects of COVID have sort of reached a point where we may need to make some changes to our facilities as we start looking to bring students back to campus full time next year. It's our goal to have students in the classrooms. We need to make room for 32 plus kids in some of our upper grades, you know, particularly our 4th and 5th grade. You know, hopefully not quite there, but our average class size is right around that 32 number, and then even a little bit higher in the middle school. And I say all this because all indication at this point is that the LA Department of Public Health, as of a call this morning, is going to maintain a 3-foot distance. Strong recommendation, I should say, for 3-foot distance, if not a health order, to continue into the next school year. And a couple areas we would need to address really quickly would be number one, desks. Is that currently our desks are not flexible enough. They're too big, and so we can't fit 32 desks in a classroom. So we did do a layout at the 138th Street School. Our max number of desks was 20. We got in the room was about 25. There's a couple of options here. We could there's counter spaces that we're going to look to knock down. It adds a little bit of usable square footage. So we could just be a little bit creative there, and also looking at purchasing some desks that would be flexible and allow us to utilize more space. So Eileen, did you want to jump in and share a little bit about that too? You're on mute.
Hi, there we go. Thank you. So Julie's been terrific working with us and making contacts, going out and seeing what's available. We're on a tight timeline to meet September. There's high demand for desks right now from all districts looking for to correct the same issue in their classrooms. So Julie's done a fantastic job going out, talking to vendors and bringing a couple of samples to Dana for teachers to look at. Principals are working with them too. The idea here is to not just buy a desk and throw it in a classroom that's small, but to really think about what will work for us down the road and for the long term as we, progressively look at our instruction and what kids need and what's different after this year. We're really looking from the inside out with our kids and what they need with inquiry and collaborative spaces, the ability to move around and be in partnerships or in larger groups or to work individually. So that's the kind of desk we're looking for. It's movable, it's strong, it's going to last a long time, and it can pair well with other desks and still fit in the room with 32 comfortably.
And with that too, it's expensive. There is a major cost to it. We have two phases of this part of this process. One would be first the removal of these extra counter spaces, and these extra counter spaces exist because in the days of desktops, before we had these laptops, you had 4 or 5 of these desktops in a classroom, which are no longer used as Chromebooks, and we've come to gotten to the one-to-one initiative here. So no longer really need those countertop spaces and could knock those out. So we are looking at some creative ways to do that, but we are looking at a pretty significant cost here. And that's why I wanted to share this more as informational to the board. We're looking somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million, $800 to $1 million that would be out of COVID funds. And that's just an estimate at this point. This is all pretty new for us this week in the last few days. But as we approach, mid-July, it is a quick turnaround. It's sort of because everybody's buying desks right now. It's just, it's what's happening across, probably across the country, but definitely in California.
Will you then have a recommendation for us, and will we have an agenda item for the June 10th board meeting?
I will hope to have that. And yes, we'll have something by the June 10th board meeting. And, honestly, we have to move sooner than that. Dr. Goldman, I'll reach out to you. We may have to do a one-item type special meeting.
Fair enough.
Who's doing the evaluation of the desk, like the selections and making the recommendations?
So
Eileen, you want to do?
Yeah, we're working with our principals. Julie, obviously, getting recommendations. She has quite a bit actually on this reviews and safety checks on these desks. So we have the principals walking through. The principals are also working with their staffs to alert them, showing them. We have a picture out there, and also there are an assembly of desks in the Dana MPR that they can go over and actually touch and see and move around. They'll be there just till Tuesday, unfortunately. So tomorrow's the day. Again, these samples are even hard to get.
Of course, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Blake, are we giving Dave enough time to find more money?
I think we are blessed with COVID funds right now to be able to address some of these issues. And what I think I echo Eileen's sentiment, which is we want something that's going to last out, and it's not just an immediate fix, but will be a long-term fix. But yeah, we'll find that money. Dave will find that money.
I'll certainly try.
And then, sorry, I know we're all on facilities, and Julie, I have you here. Julie, could you just give a quick update? Our goal this year too is, I was going to actually share that during my report as well, but since you're here, we're also looking or targeting the removal and demolition of old Dana, the old Dana site. Working hard to get those bids in. So Julie's been putting together requests for proposals. I believe at this point, I know her and Dave have been working on it. So can you just give us a status on where that is between you, Dave and Julie, and then maybe what an anticipated start date and or end date would be, at least maybe an anticipated end date.
Do you want me to go, Dave, start and then fill in?
Absolutely.
Okay. So we have an RFQ that's been written and it's been reviewed by the attorney. We have an advertisement to be placed into the newspaper, so we have at least 2 weeks worth of advertising. There's a job walk that's scheduled, and what we were looking at is to be able to target the June 24th board date in order to be able to have the work start in July, so you'd ask for the target end date. We were looking to try to get everything done before school starts. It's going to be difficult to do that because I'm trying to find good labor right now because we're behind the ball with the summer work. And with this being a small project, it's going to take firms that want to do work with us that can fit us in between some of the larger projects. And I actually have identified at least 3 that will bid on the work. So what we're looking at is having a lot of the messy work done. So all of the demolition and the noise will take place during July and August. And then it'll be primarily the cleanup and making sure that the stuff, all of the hard equipment and everything is off the site by the time the school starts. There isn't any noise disruption. One of the things that we're looking to make sure that we're doing is doing recycling as part of the program. So we're getting the funds back. So anything that comes out of the site, it's going to be separated by 3 different ways. We have asbestos and hazardous materials, regular demolition or demolition materials, and then the recyclable materials. And by doing so, then the district is able to have the cost come back to us on the recyclable materials, which is a benefit for us. Anyway, the date for the target date for the RFQ to go out as soon as possible, as soon as we get the okay to go and do so. We have a date that's scheduled for a walk on the 9th. The due date is on June 17th, and then what we've done is done it in a two-phase process back to back, where we have the RFQ request for qualifications, and as part of that, letting the team know that they're going to be 2 to 3 firms selected for an interview, and they're to consider what the cost is going to be, so they can submit a cost proposal based on how the interviews go of who the district wants to interview. And then the recommendation will go to the board on the 24th. That's the process. Subject to change.
Julie, what delivery method are we talking about?
We're looking at the CM in order to be able to buy us some time, because if we were to do hard bid just for doing demolition removal, I don't have the staff to be able to manage a construction project and to do all of the bidding and open the bids. So by doing the CM process, they will go ahead and do the bidding for us and making sure that all of the contractors are qualified and they have the right licensing and are what do you call it? They're with the DIR. They're registered with the DIR. So I was looking at the different costs and the fee. I don't have I'm sorry, I didn't come prepared for this, but from the 3 different proposals that I gotten from just talking to people, and we did an aerial to get an idea, they were within a few $100s of each other. So, and that included a CM fee.
Okay. And what is after the abatement and demolition of the site, what is the site finish going to be like?
My understanding is it's going to be graded level, so it'll be level with the sidewalk, so there won't be hills, and we won't have as you're on the sidewalk, you'll have to walk up. It'll be level and it'll be below grade. So it's like it'll be ready to be able to put asphalt or concrete or anything else that you want to be able to put on it. Part of the demolition is going to part of it is going to require moving the electrical room. There's the electricity. There's a room that's part of it that Edison owns that powers the shop. There's a separate unit that's the transformer that's powering the new Dana now. But part of that in the bid has been identified as they're going to have to move that. And there is fire connections that are at the backside of the site. So we're not going to have to move those. It's just relocating what Edison has. And we've already contacted Edison to come out and show us the plan.
Okay. And we will, I'm assuming the parking lot will stay in place. There's no plan to demolish that or anything like that, correct?
But we have some options that we were looking at. The original master plan identified removing the SLC and being able to take that all the way down. Well, the question is what are you going to do with SLC? And then what are we going to do with some of the other bungalows that we have there? So we're trying to figure out how to minimize the cost of moving. Plus, we don't want to disrupt that program because they're special kids. We want to make sure that they have a home. So we're looking at different options, and part of the map that I had identified is where else can these people go on our site that we own space. So that's a conversation that cabinet needs to have, and the board needs to be identified. But to answer your question, we won't be removing the SLC or the pavement in front of the parking lot in front of it. It's everything from where the fence line is. If you were looking to be on our site, you would take the straight line and draw it completely parallel to the street. So from that point on where Old Dana is, all of that will be removed. And then the parking lot in front of SLC will remain.
Okay. And then I guess you'll figure out, but I'm assuming that we're going to keep, it'll be a while before we figure out what we're going to do in that area. So we're going to keep permanent fencing around the perimeter of that. And
that has been identified as one of the things that we need to do. And there hasn't been, you will do this, but it's part of the scope of what we want to do. So nobody gets hurt. And again, it's keeping our community safe. Israel had asked that we do something with trees in order to be able to not have our containers show because they're street facing. So we have a lot of trees that we can relocate in order to beautify that area where a lot of these containers are, rather than just throwing them away. There's some of the trees that are actually appropriate to move and replant.
Okay, thank you.
Did I say that right, Israel? I know that was important.
And for our community's benefit, this is a rather exciting venture. We're talking about raising Old Dana, and as I understand it, this is about 10 buildings we're talking about. Is that correct?
It's pretty extensive. Yeah, and part of that too is also looking at where we're going to put IT, because IT has a spot there. So we're looking at a lot of different options. And again, it's being able to minimize the cost of moving and relocating too many times, because every time you pick up one of those portables, it's a cost.
Right.
So, and then one of the other things that the community can do, and this is really an opportunity for the schools, is with the fencing is to be able to have a story that becomes part of the fencing. So you have your either your banners or your boards up there where it says, you know, this is a project that's coming or whatever. You can create a story, and that's something that the community can come up with. So it's not just a fence.
Great. Any other
Dave,
questions?
did I say that okay? Did I get all the points?
Everything was good. Thank you so much.
Any other questions for Julie or Dave on this matter?
No, this is really exciting. Thank you, Neil, for making that clear here, because this is something we've been talking about and wanting to accomplish for, I don't know how many years. So thank you, Julie, for getting bids and putting together some estimates and getting it ready for us to vote on. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome.
Dr. Goldman, I have another facility. No, I'm kidding.
I'm ready for you. Bring it on.
All right. Well, Julie, again, thank you very much. We will now move to the information section of our meeting and start with the board. Mr. Martinez, let's start with you.
Thank you, Neil. Well, this night is typically my favorite night of all the boards when we have an opportunity to recognize our employees and obviously honor them, little token of our appreciation. So I just wanted, again, thank you to everyone that we honored tonight for their years of service. We can't say enough for the years of or their service, but more importantly, the contribution to our district, our community, and more importantly, our kids. So thank you for that. I also wanted to take a moment to recognize the Da Vinci soccer boys and girls soccer team who made it to the semifinals. It was pretty amazing. And also to our volleyball team who made it past the first round into the second round. So sports are alive and well at Weisburn Da Vinci. So that was great. And I think, as Roger mentioned earlier, both Roger and I had the opportunity to attend recently the senior awards for our Weisburn Da Vinci students that are seniors this year. And that was a treat. It was out in the plaza, beautiful evening. And again, just wanted to say thank you to the entire Da Vinci staff for holding a wonderful evening, and more importantly, to congratulate all the recipients as they receive their awards. And that's all I had this evening.
Thank you, Nelson. Mr. Moore.
Excuse me. Good evening, everyone. I want to congratulate all the honorees tonight. It is a special evening, and it's always nice to recognize longevity, retirement. But I also wanted to take this opportunity to thank all our staff and all the efforts and energy they put in, both teachers, administrators, and all the custodial and field work and all the other folks that pitch in. We really appreciate it. And we all appreciate that Weisburn is a special place, and it's because of the people who work here. So thank you very much for that. It is an exciting time for graduates and opportunities for college and new changes. And so I know it's an exciting time at Da Vinci, and also from Dana to Da Vinci, there'll be a lot of changes this year and a lot of excitement there too. So I know I've been to a couple graduations outside of our district, and they're a lot of fun. It's a good time for families and students. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Ms. Caneda.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I wanted to, of course, as everyone, congratulate all our honorees this evening. When you realize that all of those honorees, covered teachers and classified staff, and I think there was maintenance staff and all sorts of the different roles that our district depends on for the safety and well-being and education of our students. And just a lot of gratitude. And through all those years, all of our schools were recognized as California Distinguished Schools, and all of those folks had contributions that led to those achievements as well. So congratulations to all folks, and know that we really respect you and value your input. To those retirees in particular, over 140 years of participation when you accumulate all those years in the Weisburn School District. So thank you very much, and the best to everyone. A little side note, I had a chance to attend the virtual Del Air Neighborhood Association meeting last night, and it's a great meeting. A lot of folks attended, and of course they talk about the particular issues that are relevant to the Del Air folks. And it was interesting that the strip along the Aviation Boulevard that I know has been, something that Jessica has been working on for a long time. And it looks like there's a little progress being made, perhaps. So we should stay tuned with that. No progress to necessarily report in a certain achievement sense, but in the sense that the railroad and City of El Segundo and other interested parties are beginning to collaborate with perhaps making some real changes there. So that would be wonderful for our community. And looking forward to graduations. I'm going to be able to attend a few, and I'm excited for that, and just excited for our district. I think it's great to see the maintenance projects, to tear down old Dana. Oh my gosh, my husband will stop asking me, when are we going to do that? As well as a million other community members. So looking forward to that anyway. And thank you to the board and our staff. Great group of folks, and we really care about our students, our community, and I think a lot of that shows in our commitment. So thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you for your recognition of our folks and the Greenway on Aviation Boulevard, hoping that does come to pass. So thanks to those who are working on that as well. Let's see, Mr. Banuelos, please.
Thank you, Neil. I would also like to thank all of the honorees tonight. This is a wonderful board meeting. We get to recognize such achievements from our staff. It's amazing to think that people, individuals, teachers love teachers and that have worked at our district for 39 years. Just take a moment to think about that. That's a lifetime. I mean, that's amazing, right? So thank you to everyone for all of the years of service. Very appropriate time as we get ready to have the promotion ceremonies from our different schools. I'm really looking forward to attending several of those as well. And I know that at Da Vinci, their graduation ceremony or graduations are coming up here the week of the 7th. So they're about a week apart, a week staggered there. I do have my son Benny graduating this year from Da Vinci Science, but I also wanted to make sure that I shared with the Weisburn staff and teachers and custodial and everybody that contributes to that, because that's the foundation that allows our students to be successful as they move on to high school. As they transition from one of our schools to the next, it's really nice to see that continuum and things moving forward. I'd like to, again, thank everybody that participated in his education, because he is off to Cal Berkeley come this fall. So we're incredibly proud of him. And I've heard Grace and Miss Grammatical also, they both have had Benny and seen him at 138th Street. So very appropriate timing. So I thought I'd share that because they did have an incredible contribution in his education. So an amazing debt of gratitude. Not sure I can ever repay with other than saying a huge thank you. There's a lot of people that contribute to that, so I'm very grateful for that. And on November 13th, USC plays Cal, and I will not be wearing a Cal sweatshirt. In case you were wondering, Nelson, I will be wearing a USC sweatshirt at that game. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. You're still outnumbered by Santa Barbara, my friend. I echo my colleagues' comments about it's actually a really positive night. We're coming out of COVID. We're not done yet, but we're getting closer, looking to full all of our students back, hopefully in the fall, and making for space. So thank you, Dr. Silvers, for that plan and addressing those issues of the 3-foot need, and also planning for the future in all of our comments. I also want to take a moment to thank the Da Vinci board for approving last night the full payment of the deferred maintenance account to make that whole. We really appreciate that in our continuing efforts to move our relationship to even more positive places. Also want to share my screen briefly to show something from the Ed Foundation. So I will do this if I may. And acknowledge Rock Around the Block 2021, and just acknowledge this is not even the full total, but I want to really congratulate Ann and the wonderful board of WEF, the Wise Burnett Foundation, for raising over $40,000. Yes, indeed, a big claps for them. A big thank you to you, and also to acknowledge our many sponsors who were involved in making this a reality. These are all volunteers who ran this, and you can see some of the many things they fund. Also, thank you to the Sheriff's Department, HPV, for the Fire Department for coming out, for Congresswoman Waters for joining us. And you can see some of the wonderful things that Wiseburn Ed Foundation funds: our music program, elementary arts programs, STEM education, the innovation grants, and more. We're just very blessed to have them with us. We thank you for your contributions, and we appreciate what you're doing for our district. So again, thank you very much. With that said, I have a question for the board relative to timing. Some of our districts in LA County have moved their board meetings from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m., in which we would have our closed session at 5:30. I throw that out to the board and would like feedback on potentially we could start our evenings earlier, and your thoughts on that. I would like some feedback at this time.
I like the idea, Neil. I think it would be challenging. Sometimes we're not done working quite at that time. But I think the fact that we plan our meetings far ahead perhaps would allow us to be ready for a closed session at 5:30. That sounds pretty daunting, but I think for the community to have the meeting start at 6 would be a real benefit for community participation and attendance.
I know I haven't given you any warning on this, guys, so you're just top of your
I'm very much in favor of it, Neil. I would love to start earlier. Mm-hmm.
Neil, does 30 minutes give us enough time in the close? Because if possible, I would like to avoid the second close.
Right. In our continuing,
that we would have a second close.
Right. In our continuing efforts to be as open as possible, and really, I would like to see us. I think we can certainly try to do it. But even if we did have the second, it still would allow the community to be here and to be earlier, and allow us potentially even to get out earlier ourselves. Not that the goal is necessarily to get out earlier, but just to give us all a little less of an evening, late nights.
And I know we have an agenda item for tonight to outfit the boardroom, so that'll definitely help in terms of that communication. So personally, I can make that work. If we don't have enough time, I think it'd be tough if we started at 5, maybe, because also, but that would be our close, right? So 5:30, I think we can make that work on my end.
I was digesting it. I'm willing to give it a try, Neil, as long as there won't be any second closed session. But no, I think Joanne made the point. If this is something that could provide a better opportunity for our community to participate, I'm all for it, and certainly will work around that schedule.
Well, I have a question then for Dr. Silvers, because this is actually more difficult than it sounds. We have to really be official with this relative to LACO, I believe. And do we have any flexibility? Can we try this and then go back if we're finding it's just not doable? Because as we move to in-person meetings, and we will, per Roger's comment, we'll have more comment on that. Traffic might make this more difficult than we are thinking now. This is a lot easier remote, but we're moving to in-person. Dr. Silvers, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, in order to make the change, initially we would have to have board action. So we would take board action to start our meetings at 6, and we would send that information over. So we would officially schedule a year out. I think, Wendy, we schedule meetings in December. Is that right?
We make the statement at the organizational meeting in
December. December, second meeting in December, the one meeting in December, I think, right? So we would make that that change potentially for that meeting. I think we could actually take action now though, to do it from here on out, just to give it a shot. Maybe we try it through the summer and then into the early part of the year. And then if it doesn't work, you know, we just take action again to move the meeting back. So it's just it's board action, and we would then submit that time change. We're willing to give it a shot.
Can I have a motion as represented?
You have a motion.
Sorry. We would actually bring that to the next board meeting since we don't have an agenda item. So yeah. We can bring an action item to the next board meeting, which would start at 7. You know, so the 6:10 meeting, we would keep our normal time, and then we could put an action item on that meeting.
Thank you. I thought so, but I misunderstood when you said we could take an action item. So my fault.
I was just going to motion to bring the item to the next board meeting, Neil.
As I knew you were, Nelson. So excellent. All right. Thank you for your feedback on that. We will bring it to the next meeting, and we will now move to our cabinet. So let's talk with hear from our chief business official, Mr. Wilson, please.
Thank you, Dr. Goldman. I just want to give an update on the May revise. Just a refresher course on the state budget and how it's developed. So every January, the governor proposes his following fiscal year's budget. So in January, he proposed his initial budget for the 21-22 fiscal year. And then every May, he releases what's called a May revise, which is an update on that initial proposal for next year. And so on May 14th, the governor released that May revise. And his budget proposal is supported by really some unexpected revenue, personal income tax, sales and use tax, corporate tax, capital gains, all came in above projections and came in above what they were for last year. And so he really is building on some unprecedented revenue collections. Specifically for education, he's proposing to fund education funding, or Prop 98, an additional $5.6 billion more as compared to the January projections, or for a total of $93.7 billion. This is the highest that it's ever been in the state of California. Included in this funding is $3.2 billion to fund what he's calling the Super COLA. So the Super COLA is comprised of, if you recall, this year, we did not get a COLA for 2021, did not receive a COLA. So he's proposing to go ahead and fund that next year, give the statutory COLA of next year, the 21-22 statutory COLA of 1.7%, and then adding on an additional 1% COLA to raise it up to a 5.07 COLA. At January, just for comparison purposes, at January, it was only a 3.84 COLA. So it's jumped up, almost, 1.5%, or almost, a little bit over 1%. So that's good news. We'll see what happens. This begins a long negotiation process between the Assembly, the Senate, and the governor. Some one-time expenses included in his budget, $10.3 billion to pay down the cash deferrals from this year. If you recall, February through June, we were deferred either in whole or in part our state apportionments. So he's proposing $10.3 billion to pay that down next year, just leaving the remaining June to July deferral. So he would pay down the February through May, but leave the June to July. And he's already receiving pushback from a lot of people in Sacramento saying, now's the time to do it. You have all these one-time funds. Now is the best time where you pay down that wall of debt. Some other one-time investments, he's proposing $2.6 billion in a one-time targeted intervention grant, as well as an additional $2 billion in an in-person instruction, health, and safety grant. And these are really sister bills to the existing grants that he released this year, the Expanded Learning Opportunities Grant and the in-person instruction grant. So these are kind of the follow-ups to those grants. Some other big news is he's proposing Universal Transitional Kindergarten Program. The implementation would begin in the 22-23 school year. And the eligibility in year one would be if you're 4 between September and March, you would be eligible. In year 2, if you're 4 between September and June, you would be eligible. And then the final year of implementation, 24-25, any child who is 4 between September 1 and September 2 of the following year is eligible. So we'll see that, that's obviously great news for young children's and education. We'll see how that pans out between now and the end of June. He is also proposing numerous one-time grants and investments to what he's calling Build the Teacher Pipeline. He wants to attract and retain teachers. He wants to provide grants that will transition classified staff into certificated staff. And he's also proposing grants to teach in high priority schools and in high needs subject matter. And lastly, one of the initial things was next year, the full-time in-person instruction model will be the default model. There won't be a distance learning other than independent study. However, there will be more, what's the word? More, I don't have time to think of the word, more accountability in independent study. So a lot more check-ins on a daily basis with teachers. So we'll see how that goes. Again, like I said, this is the initial proposal. There'll be many negotiations over the next 6 weeks, and we'll see where it goes. We'll continue to monitor, what's going on in Sacramento, and we'll build the 21-22 budget accordingly.
Dave, can I interrupt? Real quick, just to clarify on the independent study versus distance learning. Basically, right now we have a lot of flexibility, as we're all aware, in terms of Zoom and check-ins with teachers and how we're able to collect ADA. That flexibility looks like it'll be gone next year, as at the state level. And so the only way that a student would be able to maintain a distance learning option would be through a traditional independent study format. And that independent study format has several checks and balances that are required to be sure that that student is receiving the instruction and that they entered into an agreement for independent study with the teacher, certificated teacher, and the parent and the school administrator, so that there's contract involved that student would sign, and then the delivery of instruction comes usually in the form of an online platform, ASU or PL Schools PLP, like we're utilizing this year in a larger fashion.
Dave, thank you for the report there. Surprisingly good news in that proposal. So that's excellent. Thank you very much.
Yep, we're excited.
I don't think anybody was anticipating that revenue.
No, totally unexpected, but totally welcomed at the same time.
Yeah.
And this is totally hypothetical at the moment as to the plan itself. Can you remind us of the actual, when this becomes the process before it's actually approved?
So the legislature has to submit a budget to the governor by June 15th. For every day that it's past June 15th, they do not collect their salaries. So there'll definitely be a budget proposal or a budget before the governor, and he has until June 30th to sign it, to make revisions, to redline anything that he doesn't agree with. So we do expect a budget by June 30th.
Thank you, David.
We were talking facilities earlier, and I just wanted to share that I got an email from Dave Doomey of Murtha Pools. He told me that Long Beach Unified is looking to build 5 pools using our piggyback. And right now we're getting 1% on all of our piggybacks. Any other district that uses that piggyback that we've bid out gives us 1%. And so, I think we spent about 1.5, 1.6 million just on our pool alone. So if you multiply that, 1.5 by 5 pools, it's about $7.5 million. So 1% of those 5 pools would bring in about $75,000 to our Fund 14, our deferred maintenance account. So that could, help fund those programs or those projects that Julie was speaking about. So that's good news. We'll continue to monitor that. And so, all that hard work from Vince and Annie still paying off, and we're very appreciative of that.
Excellent.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Thank you, Dave.
And lastly, I want to share my screen. I want to go over a couple things. Oops. Can I share my screen, Wendy? All right, I just wanted to give a summary of the revenues for specifically the month of April, and then also year to date. This last month was the first month we went over this, so I'll just walk you through this again. This is local control funding formula. For the month of April, received $3.6 million, and this also includes property taxes, so it's a combination of property taxes and state aid. Year to date, almost $21 million. For the year, we budgeted 26.7. 26.9. So we're about 77% of the way. And through April is 10 months out of 12, which is about 83%. So, we're right in this area where we should be. In lieu property taxes, this is what we pay out to Da Vinci for their prorated share of the property taxes. For the month of April, we paid out just over $263,000. Year to date, just over 4.1. Our budget amount that we expect to pay to Da Vinci, which again is backfilled by state aid, about $5.4 million. So we're about 76% of the way. Federal revenue, we collected just over $71,000. Year to date, 1.5. Budget amount 2.4. Only 62% of the way. Hopefully this catches up. It could be that we'll have some accounts receivable at the end of the year, which would help in that. Other state revenue, this is your lottery, your mandated funds, received just over $285,000 for the month, just under 1.4 for the year, and we budgeted 2.2, so 61%. Again, we probably have some accounts receivable at the end of the year that will correct this towards the end of the year. Measure CL right here, $555,000 for the month. Again, property taxes, the main property taxes come in the months of December and April. So this is a fair amount right here. For year to date, 1.6. I'm sorry, 1.6. We budgeted 1.7. So we're 95% of the way there. And then all other local revenue collected just over $72,000. Year to date, 983. We budgeted 1.3, and we're 71% of the way. So overall, about 76% of received to budget. So I think we're good there. Any questions on that? I'll go to April cash flow. So here we are with our cash flow through April. You can see as we ended April, we had just over almost $10 million in the bank. And when we earlier in the year, when we did the tax revenue anticipation note, we had no idea we were going to receive the amount of COVID funds and these other one-time grants that we did. So if it wasn't for those federal grants, this would be closer to 2 million, 3 million maybe. So this is now kind of shocking in that we did not think we were going to have a $10 million ending cash flow or ending cash balance to end April. And just want to point out where we think we're going to end the year as of June 30th, just over $10 million. We pay that trans back in December of this year, and then we pay the final amount in February of 2022. So again, good with cash right now. If it wasn't for those one-time COVID funds and other one-time grants, we wouldn't nearly have this level of cash. But we're happy with that.
David, quick question. How much was the trans again?
We borrowed $5 million at an estimated cost of about $25K because interest rates are just so low right now.
And it doesn't behoove us to pay it back sooner?
I can look into it. They're pretty stringent on their the language because it has to be all attorney approved. But I can certainly reach out to our consultant in LACO and ask if we can go ahead and issue those payments.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Dave.
Indeed, good news to be in this position. Thank you. Our Director of Psychological Service, Ms. Mazzarella, could not be with us tonight, so let's now turn to our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources.
Good evening, everyone. No update. HR, we wanted to just recognize our retirees and our longevity recipients. So thank you.
Thank you very much. To Dr. Harbeck, our Assistant Sup of Educational Services.
Thank you. I just have 2 updates. Last week, Dave and I and Dr. Silvers were able to host our final Local Control Accountability Plan Committee meeting. We've had such great participation from our stakeholders this year, even with the pandemic via Zoom. And so we are thankful for all their input. We were able to present both the drafts for the LCAP and for the Expanded Learning Opportunity Grant that is going before the board tonight for approval. So we got some great feedback and we want to thank them for all of that. This week, we also completed our end of the year STAR testing. If you remember, this is our local assessment we're using in lieu of the CASP SBAC testing. Our data is in, and this is such a gift for us. Our teachers can actually access that data now. Our principals can look at it now, see where their students are landing at this point in the year. We can also disaggregate it right now for our summer school staff as they begin to look at who's going to be in what class and planning those courses. So we just feel this was a great launch, and our teachers supported it. So we feel very lucky that we've completed that task. That's it.
Fantastic. Will you be able to kind of give us an overview of what we learned at our next meeting?
We sure will.
That's great. Thank you very much. By the way, before we get to you and your facilities report, Dr. Silvers, just kidding. I did want to mention, Nelson mentioned some sports. I've been informed and reminded that the Weisberg Da Vinci archery team beat Our Lady of Peace in San Diego in a head-to-head virtual tournament. So go archery team. There you go. All right, Dr. Silvers, take it away.
Well, you took one of my points. I think, again, everybody took all of the points I wanted to share. No, I'm kidding. I have a couple updates, but I did want to also congratulate the archery team as well. So congratulations to them. I have some good updates today, actually fresh off the press, and I'm going to have to read this because it's kind of long, but our Herndon team, it's really great news that our Herndon team at Dana Middle School swept the nationwide 44th annual Robert H. Herndon Memorial Science Competition. Excuse me, it was held earlier today. That's May 27, 2021. Students submitted their science essays that draw on an engineering or science discipline to describe a technological advancement to reimagine the future of space. Students followed specific guidelines and worked with Dr. Johnson and Mr. D since February. So they've been working on this for quite some time. This included weekly meetings where the students followed the judging criteria as well as the rubrics for to target those essential components of the competition. This year, students wrote essays that recognize the important role that space plays in shaping the way that we experience the world and how engineering and science can shape space exploration in a new way. Submissions were judged by a slate of technical professionals from various engineering fields. In addition to checking that submissions met all the basic rules, they were looking for initial planning, a level of effort and organization, a quality of work grade or point allotment, and then the presentation itself. Sweeping the competition is very special. This year, our students competed on a national level with a combination of East Coast and Western states in this competition. So I am going to name students actually, I do want to share one other point. This year, overall, there were 123 Dolphins, Dana Dolphins on 3 STEM teams. That's the Cetacean Bots, JWS, and Herndon. And so we're proud of all of those students, all of the Dolphins for their participation. But do want to announce the 44th Herndon Science winners. And just for privacy's sake, we will try and have them come at a later date. I'm just going to use first names today and the name of their actual essay because this literally came in just about an hour or so before the meeting. So I want to recognize them by first name only. So in third place from Richard Henry Dana Middle School was Alexander, Ion Propulsion, and he's a 7th grader. In second place from RH Dana Middle School was Zane, How the James Webb Space Telescope Will Revolutionize Future Space Exploration. That's an 8th grader. And then in first place from RH Dana Middle School, Sabrina, for Space Satellite to Clean Up Space Debris, 7th grader at Dana Middle School. So I want to thank Mr. D, Kevin, Kiana, and all those who were really involved in this whole process. And thank you to Mr. D for sharing this prior to the board meeting. So I'm able to recognize the team for that today and share with the board. So congratulations to our Dana Dolphins and to the team there. I also want to share that our own Mr. Alberto Paredes is the new AXA, it's Association of California School Administrators, South Bay Consortium President. So he'll be advocating on behalf of administrators in the South Bay and providing us some updates from AXA so that we stay relevant. It's really important that we're involved in this. I think Eileen actually had this role for about 10 years or something like that, but it's good to see Albert take this leadership role in the South Bay. So thank you to that. Thank you to him for that. I also wanted to revisit, Roger had asked that we take a look at supporting the Da Vinci project, the CTE project, which is building the studio. We saw a presentation on this last last week, or last board meeting, sorry. And part of that is how do we create these connective tissues between Da Vinci and the programs at Da Vinci, as well as with our middle school and even into our elementary schools. We had a really nice meeting yesterday with WEF, with Dr. Wonder, Jennifer Hahn, with the Da Vinci team. Eileen was there, and WEF, so that we could, and Toby Harwell, sorry, I don't want to leave him out. So we could talk about music, but then there's also sparked, how do we allow students to move from Da Vinci to our, the Wiseburn area, because there's a bit of a trek and a little bit of maybe some dangerous road along the way. So I may actually be bringing to the board in the next couple board meetings the potential purchase of vans. So whereas we're not maybe contributing to the actual project itself, that we start creating this pipeline where students can travel between our sites to participate in different events. So for music, we can have students that come to our schools over in Wiseburn, students from Da Vinci come to perform with students in Wiseburn to help tutor. There's just so many different ways that we could utilize a little bit of transportation, obviously not a bus system, but some transportation that kind of connects the district in a way that we just haven't had in a while. So just wanted maybe some thoughts on that, if that's something that you're okay with me exploring.
Like, I'd like to thank you for thinking of that as an option, because when we say we'd like to increase the collaboration, we also have to operationalize it, right? How do they get from point A to point B? We have some younger students as well, right? And if there's traffic, there's streets, as you're mentioning. I think that would be a wise investment that could serve us well, not just for the CTE project, but for other activities like you're mentioning with music and arts and sports for that matter, and fields and things like that as well. So I think it sounds like a really good idea. Thank you.
Agreed.
Right. So I'll move on, just a couple more items here, more updates, but I do want to give a quick update on the renaming of schools. So we are in the process now of beginning the process to rename and look at renaming potentially all 4 of our schools, maybe at least 3 of the 4 schools. I have a letter drafted that will be sent out next week to families and community members. We're going to really hit as many social media outlets as we can, just as much information as we can get out, or as many, I guess, outlets that we can get this letter out to. We'll utilize those, including sending this to our homeowners association groups, so that they also have some feedback into the name. After that, we'll be creating a citizens advisory committee. I did share at the last meeting kind of the process for this. It's just taken on, it's a little bit of a larger prospect now, because we're looking at all of our schools and potentially renaming all of them. And so just wanted to share our next step would be sending out that letter. And we are going to also do an informal poll as part of that, which would determine, just to get a sense of the pulse as to whether or not some of our community members would want to have the name after neighborhoods. So basically our board policy, either neighborhoods, a person's name, or a person's name and or value. So we'll put that out there and just get a sense of the temperature in the community for that. So that's a quick update on the renaming of schools. Still tentatively targeting, I think Israel gave me a deadline of the 19th of August. So I'm going to try and make that happen, Israel. We're going to work hard on trying to get that. But we'll get it as soon as we can, but do it the right way and get the feedback. Then a little bit of housekeeping, if we can. We have a meeting on 6/24 that I think we may not have a quorum for that meeting. So I was hoping that we could talk about a reschedule of that meeting, just so that we need to actually approve our LCAP and budget by the 28th. So we have a meeting scheduled for the 28th, and we need to have that before the 1st of July, before the end of the year. So is there a way, I know we have some dates, but is we thrown out the 17th? Do we have at least 3 board members maybe available for the 17th?
Can be there, guys. Raise your hand.
I can't be there.
Me, myself, and I. That's not a quorum, though, Blake.
Isn't that promotion day, Blake?
It is. Yeah.
We'd probably do a morning meeting, right?
It's a regularly scheduled meeting, so we have to have it at a regular time. So I think we could reschedule it for a different day, but it would have to just still hold that 7 o'clock time. That's my understanding. So we could do it the 16th. I mean, we're pretty much open. If there's any, could we do the 16th?
Looking.
how long of a meeting is it? What are we doing at that meeting? Is it a regular board meeting or what are we talking about?
So yes, we would have to hold public comment, but we could have it as a one item. In other words, we don't have to, we can have minimal business, but literally just, we need to pass the, we need to have a public hearing for our budget and for LCAP. And we need to post that in the Daily Breeze 10 days prior to that meeting. So I know Dave would have to get to the Daily Breeze because we have it set for the 24th. So we need to change that with the Daily Breeze.
Could we do it at 6 o'clock? Or 5 o'clock, or does it have to be 7 o'clock?
Wendy, what's your, I may have to get some, do you have that information, Wendy? I thought it had to be at 7, but do you have a?
Not specifically, but we are so far ahead of that time frame that we could post that. It's
Okay.
not so far off of the 7 p.m. Time slot that we can post that early.
And the promotion ceremonies are really early. Anza's at 11 a.m. and Dana is at 10 a.m. So they're in the morning sessions as opposed to the.
I think Dana's at 10 and 2, isn't it?
It is 10 and 2. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, there's two. There's
sorry, I'm looking.
17th.
Yes, 10 and 2.
Dana's on the 17th.
On the 17th.
So even if we did it at 6 and either of those days, there's not a conflict. I think the issue is we have vacations and some folks out of town. Who is available on either the 16th at say 6 o'clock?
I could do it if it's not a long meeting.
Nelson, could you make that meeting as well?
I am available the 16th, yes.
And I know Israel, you're out of town. And Roger, are you out of town that time too?
No, I'm available.
So we could do it at 6 o'clock on the 16th and have it a brief meeting. It is our regular scheduled meeting because we're having the conflict on the 24th, but this sounds like a possible option.
So is what can I ask for one more request is that is my daughter's birthday, so I'm sorry I'm throwing another curveball at you all. It's her 16th birthday too. It's not just so is the 15th possible? Same time we can do we can do a 2-item agenda on if the 15th works. Just the public hearing and then the presentation of the documents.
I can do the 15th.
Yeah, I can. You're pushing me. I can't even speak. Okay.
Sorry.
So it sounds
I may not get let in my house if I do a meeting on the 16th.
No, you have to be there for the 16th.
Sorry.
Good for you. Good for you. Can you make this the 15th?
15th.
Yes, the 15th I can make.
Great. Let's do it then.
Okay, so then Dr. Goldman, then that couples up with the 28th, which is when we actually would approve it. And when that's scheduled, do we have 3 board members at least for the 28th? I didn't hear any. I think that we had a quorum for that day. I just want to verify.
We can make this as the 7:30 a.m. meeting.
The 28th is the morning meeting, right?
Correct.
Generally is a morning meeting.
I'm okay on the
Will
28th.
not be here on the 28th, 29th, or 30th.
Yes, I will be here on the 28th. How about Israel's out of Nelson?
I'm here on the 28th.
Thank you.
I will not be here the 28th, 29th, or 30th.
Wow. All right.
A question though, with the new COVID rules, do we have to be in the country to do this?
Yeah, good point. We could do this remote.
We could do a remote still up
Let
until
me
the
know if
30th.
that's what you need. We might be able to arrange it.
Okay.
And that would be an evening or like a 7
It's a morning. It's at 8 o'clock
So yeah, I think we have a
or 7:30.
7:30 is when it's currently scheduled.
Yeah.
Could Roger, you or Nelson make either of you gentlemen make a 7:30 remote meeting?
Remotely, I think I can do that. By calling in.
Yeah, just like this. Or by phone.
By phone, I can do that.
I can do it as well.
That'll be short. That could be, that's like generally a 5, really, really short meeting.
Yeah.
What's at that meeting? Are we approving or we are reviewing and likely approving something?
So the review would happen, we'll present the documents 10 days prior to the meeting on the 15th. So then there'll be several days to review those documents and hopefully approve the documents on the 28th.
Okay.
Or, yes, on the 28th, the morning of the 28th. And it's the LCAP budget.
Okay.
LCAP budget.
So what day are we going to do it, Blake?
So I have now on my notes that we're going to do a meeting on June 15th, and we're going to do that at 6 p.m. It'll be a very short meeting. We'll just try and keep it short. That's the public hearing. So we'll get that published in the Daily Breeze. And then we'll follow up with the final approval, hopefully consideration and hopeful approval of the budget and the LCAP on the 28th in the morning at 7:30 a.m.
Okay.
Okay.
And we could send this all out. We'll send it all out in email too, so you have it, but just.
Yep.
Got
Thanks everybody for your flexibility.
Thank you all. And that's everything for me. Thank you, Dr. Goldman. Thank you, everybody.
All right, great. Let's go to item 6.1 on the agenda, approval of the minutes held March 30th, 2021. Motion, please.
You have a motion.
Good. I'll second.
Thank you both. And please.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you.
All right, general action items. 7.1, approve the plan for expanded learning opportunity grant. Motion, please.
You have a motion. Are we not able to motion 7.1 to 7.7? You want to do these one at a time?
We should do 7.1 separately, and then we can motion. We could actually motion. We should do 7.1, 7.2 separately, and then we can do 7.3 to 7.5 together, and then 7.6 should be separate.
Okay, motion 7.1.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Wendy, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
7.2, approve Wiseburn Faculty Association tentative agreement for 2021. This is the additional stipend. Motion, please.
I'll motion.
Thank you, Joanne.
You have a second.
Thank you, Nelson. Comments or questions? Glad to be able to do this. Wendy, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
Items 7.3 through 7.5, salary increase ratification for certificated, classified, and management contract employees respectively.
You have a motion.
Thank you, Israel.
A second. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you, Joanne.
Any comments or questions?
No questions.
Again, glad to be able to do this.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah.
Wendy, can you bring the agenda up?
Want to share, this is the agreement with WFA for both a salary increase and a stipend for the distance learning portion for our teachers. And so we recognize the work our teachers and all of our staff have done this school year, and this is to ratify the agreement.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Nisha, and thanks to our teachers. I'm glad we're able to recognize them in this fashion, recognize their the tremendous bending over backwards that everybody has done to make this year successful.
May we never ask this of anyone again, and thank you very much.
For sure.
Really appreciate it.
Yes.
Wendy, a vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you.
Item 7.6, we do need to take this separately. This is the approval of the Career Technical Education Facilities Program, the Studio Project, and funding participation round 6 on behalf of Da Vinci Schools. This was the presentation made very well by the Da Vinci team at our last board meeting. Motion, please.
I would love to motion this one.
Thank you, Roger.
I'd like to second.
Great. Looks like no comments, so Wendy?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We'll move to 7.7, receive board policy for first reading. Dr. Silvers?
Or if we can bring it up. We brought this to the board at the last board meeting just to review the policy, and as per feedback from the board, we did add some language. So if you scroll down to right there, Wendy, we did add to number 4 here on the screen. It's for naming rights that there could be removal of a name if you that we would prohibit a name if it had any message, image, or other depiction that advocates or endorses the use of drugs, tobacco, or alcohol, encourages unlawful discrimination against any person or group, promotes use of violence, or the violation of any law or district policy. And this is our addition here to capture a larger swath, which is or promotes and or symbolizes acts of moral turpitude. We followed that up with number 5 here. Again, this first part, the only addition we had to number 5 based on feedback from the last meeting is this last phrase where it says and or whose actions are determined to be misaligned with the vision, values, and interests of the school community. And that was just per feedback from the board at the last meeting. So this would be a first reading that we would approve and bring it back at the next meeting for final approval if the board so chooses.
You have a motion to approve?
Yeah, a second.
Thank you very much appreciate the accommodation and the inclusion of those things. And anytime an educational institution can get turpitude in any of our documents, we got to be proud. So well done. Andy, can we have a vote, please?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Moving to facilities, approve purchase or modular or mobile modular classrooms at 138th Street School. Mr. Mora, being the lover of module buildings, would you like to motion this?
No, I wouldn't.
I will defer to Israel.
Yes.
I'm gonna fall over. What happened?
We can bring Dennis back to do this motion.
Can I have a motion? We do need a motion.
I want to hear Israel motion this.
Yeah.
This is good. This is not going to move forward, Neil.
Israel, you're purchasing them. You're not leasing them.
It's still sitting there, Nelson.
I will motion this purchase. Mr. Moore, would
wait for your second, Israel. Just wait for your second. It's still sitting here.
Our president, I will second it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. This is an investment. We are expecting to have this on our site for longer than 5 years. It pays for itself in under that time. Dave, we appreciate you doing the math on here and making this recommendation. Thank you, Dr. Silvers, as well. Any comments or questions here?
I'd also thank the facilities committee, and Israel, thank you for being at the facilities committee.
That's the right thing to do.
That.
All right.
Thank you.
Got to play with you, thank you. Wendy, let's take a vote, please.
All in favor, please?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
You're going to vote no, Israel.
Thank you.
All right.
That would be a first after he seconded, right?
Exactly. We can take a motion for fiscal 9-1 through 9-4 if someone is so inclined.
I would love to motion 9-1 through 9-4.
I will second. I have a question.
Please, Joanne, go ahead.
With 9.2, with the tech upgrades for the boardroom, whose technical expertise was used to sort of validate this proposal and this approach?
So we actually utilized Da Vinci, Jesse, who's the head of the IT department at Da Vinci for Da Vinci Schools, and then actually had a vendor that came in who outfits city halls and board meetings basically across the country is what they do. And so we went through several of the different options and wanted one that was kind of mid-range. So this is about a mid-range option that provides a larger screen. And then cabling that upgrades the system. We have to actually upgrade the system so that it will last for the next 10 to 15 years where we'd be able to live stream it. So I think it was pretty well vetted, by Jesse first, and then we did some research ourselves.
What's the time frame for installation?
We're waiting. A couple of the items are back ordered, so we're waiting on that, on the shipping and materials. But we're hoping by the July 1st, so that we could start the new fiscal year potentially in person.
What
Okay,
this is, thank you, Joanne. Good questions. What this is for our community, and we've received some questions I'm sure many of you has, is when are you going to be returning to the boardroom in person? And what we're talking about here is a digital streaming service and screen that will enable us to not only return in person, but to continue this format so that folks can participate from home. Currently, we do not have the technology to do that. We do not want to go return to in person and lose the ability for remote participation. So that was, to answer any questions, that's why we're doing what we're doing. And after it's installed, we hope to have a win-win such that we can do both continuing into the future. Any other questions on 9.1 through 9.4?
Nope.
Wendy, a vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Consent items, a motion, please.
A motion for 10.1 through 10.4?
I'll second. Oh,
Go ahead, Joanne.
that's okay now, whatever. Thank
Go ahead,
you.
Joanne.
Okay, thanks.
Hearing no comments, Wendy, vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Thank you.
Now we move to personnel. I believe we can take 11.1 to 11.6.
Do we want to approve 11.4 separately?
I would recommend approving 11.4 separately. Yes.
Yes.
We need a motion then to 11.1 to 11.3, perhaps?
You have a motion?
Second.
No comments, Wendy, please?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
11.4, folks.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Comments, thoughts? This is a exciting moment.
It is an exciting moment, and I thought it deserved its own attention here. I think this is a really important move for Dana, and I think the selection is really important and well done.
Yeah, I'd just like to congratulate Mr. Coronet on becoming the assistant principal.
Well earned, absolutely.
Yeah.
Congratulations, not
Agreed,
here.
agreed.
And thank you for the job well done in the interim role. Absolutely well deserved.
I'm sure that's a tough role to be an interim anything. And he did a really good job, and I'm sure will continue to do a really good job in the official role. So appreciate his efforts. Thank you.
And this wasn't an easy year to do this.
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, again, congratulations. Thank you for your comments. Thank you, Joe, for making us take a moment there. Very appropriate. Wendy, vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All opposed? Thank you.
That was an aye as in approve. Yes. I'm late on that one. Just wanted to make sure you captured in the affirmative.
There you go. 11.5 and 11.6. Motion?
I'll motion. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Roger. I'll second then.
All right, thank you. Student, teacher, and job description and salary schedule. Any questions? That's for the district nurse. No, Wendy?
Just a quick update, sorry. For the district nurse, this is for 100% position and some additional job duties that we would like a district nurse position to fulfill.
I have a question, Nisha. So a lot of our jobs are 100% and yet people share them.
Mm-hmm.
Are we looking at a one person to fulfill this nurse role for the district?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Wendy, a vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And thank you for this
Thank you.
update, Dr. Google. 11.7. Approve job description and salary schedule for district coordinator, DEI, and compliance.
You have a motion?
I'd like to make a, if I may, Nelson, I'd like to make a motion to approve with an adjustment for an addition of one of the major duties and roles. I had a conversation with Blake with regards to what the position, in terms of the activity and the involvement. I really see this position as both, right, for diversity, equity, and inclusion, but also to work together and promote our communication with our charters. So one of the things I'd like to add to this is to have it listed here as a specified duty to have active involvement in community events and activities of both Wiseburn and Da Vinci, such that this person can learn the culture from both entities, that can really make presentations, determinations, recommendations to the board from a point of understanding, because I do not see this as a desk job. This is a very active role and what's visible for understanding to promote the communication. So if we can, and Blake, I don't know if you had an opportunity to craft something to that effect, but I think it's really important because that's really part of the intent of this position.
Yeah, I did, Roger. I don't know if I captured it as eloquently as you just said it. So, but I definitely was able to capture it. Nisha, do you have the do you have the language that was crafted?
Yeah, give me just a moment. So, Roger, one of the things that we were looking at is to attend and facilitate a variety of meetings with school site personnel, parent groups, and community representatives. Does that capture kind of the school site level pieces, the community piece, as well as parent group pieces?
Could we just add to include board meetings? I mean, I think that was one thing that was really important, right, Roger, that we wanted to call that out.
It's really, it's that way the person can really understand both entities from which to make recommendations on. And of course, I know there's other duties and as assigned, if you will, that it will be needed for the position, both on the DEI, but also on the compliance side. So I think with that addition, I think it's good to go. And I'd love to motion that as a step forward.
Can I add a word regularly? Regularly attend, not just, hey, this isn't a sideline idea. This is an expectation that you'll regularly do this.
Yes, we'll add that.
Roger, one more time.
I'd like to motion with that addition.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and second that.
Thank you, Nelson. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
It's a really big milestone for Wiseburn to add this position to our team.
Yeah.
I'm happy that we're moving in this direction. I think it's a great move for the district.
A vote, please, Wendy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
11.8, approve job description for the district TOSA, and really it's TOSA's plural. Motion, please.
You have a motion.
Thank you, Israel.
I'll second. I do have a question.
Please.
For the TOSA, is this, I see in the description, it's TK5. Is it not to extend TK8, or is it deliberate for the elementary, not the middle school? Is this the special assignment for just TK5?
This is for the elementary at this time, yes.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
As I understand it, we're talking about adding 2 TOSAs here. Was it one is a continuing TOSA?
Yeah, Eileen, do you want to jump in, or Nisha, Eileen, whoever wants.
We have two positions through the ELOP budget, and so one of them is for a balanced literacy position and for math. In terms of the job description, the reason these are coming to the board is we've updated these job descriptions to match the needs of our students at this time. So instead of a generic job description for a TOSA, we emphasize specific categories, which include balanced literacy, math, as well as science is in there too, but that's not a position that's going to be open right now.
And as I understand it, accolades and thank yous to WEF for helping us in part fund our science TOSA. So just let you know where that money that you're contributing to RAB and other events is going. It really is coming back to our schools. Thank you. No other comments? Wendy, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
All right, we have a lot of upcoming dates and events, particularly promotions and graduations. And Dr. Silver, do you want to walk us, Silvers, do you want to walk us through this, please?
Sure, I'll walk just quickly through it. I know we've been sending around quite a bit of some emails. We have our Memorial Day this coming Monday, so just wish everybody the rest and relaxation. We do have our Thursday, June 10th board meeting, normal time 7 p.m. And we'll bring back an item to maybe move it to 6 for the following board meeting. We have all the 3 Da Vinci graduations, science, design, and communications. You can see there the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and respectively, all starting at 4 p.m. They will be outdoors over here at 201. Da Vinci Rise will be graduating on Thursday, June 10th, also at 4 p.m. And we have our Connect 8th grade promotion Thursday, June 10th at 10 a.m. SLC is doing a drive-through ceremony. That's on the 15th of June at 10 a.m. And then we have our elementary schools. And 5th grade will happen on Wednesday, June 16th at 11 a.m. And that'll be just after the start of 138th Street School's 5th grade promotion, which will be at 10:30 on that same Wednesday. And then Dana Middle School's 8th grade promotion comes in 2 this year, Thursday, June 17th, the first one at 10, and then the second one will start at 2 p.m. So just a lot going on in the next few weeks here, a lot of really, it's really nice events here for the district as we round out and complete a difficult, challenging, yet now we'll see fulfilling year. So that's it for me. And then is this Cabrillo PT? I'm sorry, Wendy, I don't know if that's an attachment. I did not click on that. So is that
No, that is, yeah, that's the In-N-Out flyer for the Cabrillo Burgers and Shave Ice. It does require advanced purchase, and they will be selling those tickets for the In-N-Out truck through June 11th. And the event is June 15th.
And you can see tickets on sale, cabrillopta.org.
They want to make sure that we mentioned also that this is a grab and go event.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Any other future agenda items or issues they wish to address at this time? Hearing none, it is 9:17 and 52 seconds. Let us adjourn this meeting and wish everyone a lovely evening and a good Memorial Day weekend. And we'll see you on June 10th, if not sooner.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.